Hi, I wanted to address the reaction to 48 Hours, how myself and my family felt after watching it. There was a lot of misinformation. I do understand that it was only 42 minutes long and there was a lot of moving parts that happened, and trying to fit all of that into 42 minutes is very difficult. But I was unaware of the spin that they were taking and how that made my daughter look, and the misinformation that was used about Arden. I'm disappointed in it. I'm disappointed that people couldn't understand that she is diagnosed with parental alienation during that time. She was my biggest cheerleader when I left Trevor. She was by my side. She was refusing to go on visits with him, and I had the protection in place to prevent my children from having to interact with him. But the judge threw out that protective order, and the children were forced to go on visits with their father. This opened the door for my children to be used and manipulated. Trevor manipulated a judge into trusting Trevor that Trevor was a safe person. We all saw him represent himself in court and realizing on full display the psychopath that he is. He is a narcissist, but at the time he was such a covert narcissist, he had the judges and the police eating out of his hand. So as a child at 14 years old, you fully believe your mother. You go to a domestic violence shelter. Your mom is not involving you because she is a good, stable parent to not involve you into what the messy divorce is, what's going on between her and your dad. So instead now you're being forced to visit with a monster, and he is going to use that time to manipulate you. On top of that, now I have to co-parent with this man who is terrorizing me, and every time I call the police aren't believing me. They threaten to throw me in jail for making false abuse reports against Trevor, which we now know is true, and Trevor has confessed to the fact that he was terrorizing me and held me at knife point. So I have all of this up against me. My children, on the other hand, are seeing that the judges are siding with Trevor. The police are siding with Trevor. He had pretty much all of my friends and our acquaintances convinced, because the judges and the police, these professionals, are believing him. So then our circle of friends, our circle of influence, are believing him. And they are feeding those into the children. So here, Trevor used all of these different things to feed into the children. At no time did I find fault in my children. At no time was I afraid of my children. And they did get the therapy that they needed. They were able to start seeing the truth in a therapeutic way. And that's one of the things with parental alienation. If people really understood how parental alienation works and understand the effects that that has on a child, and how that child is then used as to weaponize that child, and it's child abuse. And had that really been addressed for my children, and had my children been protected as they should have been by the courts, and had it not been reinforced by the police that I was the problem and I was the one not to be believed, then this wouldn't have happened. My children wouldn't have gone through that. And for people to attack my daughter as that she can't be trusted. My daughter is so, so, so sweet. Anyone that has met her knows that she was used by a dangerous, dangerous man. And we cannot fault her for that. It is not her fault. And we have to do more to protect more children from this behavior, because this is happening every day. And our court system is reinforcing this and allowing this to happen. We have to be able to call out these covert narcissists. We have to be able to see that if there is something like this happening, there has to be more involvement. There has to be, it just can't be a 5-minute court hearing in which it's a he said, she said. We have to have professionals in place, therapy in place for these families, so that way another trained professional that has more interaction with the family can actually see what is happening and what is going on. It just cannot be a couple minutes in front of a judge or a couple of minutes interacting with a police officer. That's not going to fix this problem. And it can't be that as society we attack these children, because that is what they are. They are children who are being manipulated. Because if a covert narcissist can manipulate a judge, can manipulate police, can manipulate smart business people, can manipulate your entire circle of influence, everyone closest to you, and use all of those people against you, and use that to reinforce your children's understanding of the situation when they are not being given the true facts because the stable parent is protecting them, then we as society need to start making some changes. And I was very disappointed, and I was upset that that's how it was portrayed in the 48 hours, when that is not how that occurred at all. To also say that Trevor had custody of the children is not true either. He was refusing to return the children after visitation. Now, when this happens, the police will normally say, sorry, this is a civil matter. You have to take it in front of a judge. So you have to request a hearing. You have to go through an attorney, and this is where a lot of women of domestic violence get stuck, is because they have so much on their backs financially of just trying to rebuild and trying their hardest to protect their children, and everything's stacked against them. So he did not return my children. I contacted my lawyer immediately. We had a hearing. We had a hearing scheduled for that week, which was in a couple days from the kidnapping. So we had a scheduled hearing for me to get my children back, because he was refusing to return them after a visitation. So he held them for 3 weeks while I was waiting to have this court hearing. So it's not true that he had custody of the children. He told everyone that he was granted full custody of the children, which he was not. And I was in the process of fighting to get my children back, because he essentially kidnapped them by not returning them on the scheduled time after a visitation. This happens a lot, and this happens, a lot of abusers will do this to give also the impression that they're protecting the children from the parent whom they claim has mental problems, which I did not have any mental problems. I have been cleared multiple times because he claimed that I did. But this is happening to so many victims of domestic violence. And here it again feeds in those ideas and authenticates for the abuser, hey, look, I've got custody. There's something wrong with her. The judge believes me. The police believe me. It's something wrong with her. And that is how then they do this covert narcissist activity that legitimizes them and empowers them more and gives them more credibility. So that is what is happening. And I understand you can't explain all of that in 42 minutes, but to spin it like he had custody of the children, and to spin it like my daughter was this evil person that can't be trusted, is not true at all. And I hope that really clarifies some things for everyone. And I just wanted to put that out there for the YouTube, for the people that did see that. If you watch the trial, you'll get more information about what was happening. But I really wanted to clarify that for myself, for my daughter. I didn't get to preview the 48 hours ahead of time, or it would have been addressed. And I just had no idea that they were going to, with all of the video that they took and all that they collected from us, I had no idea they were going to use and spin it in that way. That was really a lot of misinformation in those two areas. Thank you guys so much, and I love all of you and the support. I have received so much support from people who have experienced a covert narcissist that I just wanted to thank you guys and really clarify that.